So where in your life do you find yourself regurgitating information that you've picked up from external sources that you have not vetted, understood, or genuinely integrated? Hello beautiful souls, my name is Joyanna and this is my channel, The Laughing Oracle. And on this channel, The Laughing Oracle, you will find tarot readings, light language activations, intuitive astrology, and so much more. I am so excited for what I have in store for this channel, so excited for the community that I'm building, and so excited for today's message in particular. So in today's video, I will be diving into the Gemini new moon that is upcoming on the 26th of May, 2025. Although you may feel these energies a week before and a week after, so if this video finds you anywhere within that time frame, it's still pretty relevant. What you can expect from this video is that I will give a brief overview of both what a new moon represents, as well as what characteristics are attributed to the sign of Gemini. And then after this very brief description, I will be taking an intuitive deep dive. So before this video, I sat with the energies of this new moon in Gemini. I meditated, I tapped into the collective, and I pulled through the messages that wanted to be relayed. These are the energies that will manifest in certain ways around the new moon in Gemini. And you can bet that if you have stumbled across my video, I have called you in energetically. These messages are for you. However, please use your discernment. If it does not resonate, leave it behind, but also put a pin in it, because what may not resonate now may come around in a few weeks' time, or may come to a culmination point between now and the Gemini full moon, which happens in Sagittarius season. So let's begin with what exactly a new moon represents. So we all know, or should have a basic understanding, that the lunar cycle is roughly about 28 days. It begins with the new moon, which is when the moon is right next to the sun, and therefore you cannot see it in the sky at night. And energetically, we like to think of new moons as a time of starting and planting seeds. This is a time for setting intentions. This is a time for sitting with yourself, meditating, and trying to understand what is it that the new moon is trying to present to you, and how you in turn can work with this energy to start something new in your life. New moons are for initiating, they are for planting seeds. They are the beginning of the lunar cycle. And the way that I understand it, a new moon in Gemini, for example, that actual long-term cycle culminates in a full moon in that sign later on. So the new moon happening next week, the culmination of this actual long-term cycle, the seeds that you plant in the long term, you will see the harvest of in Sagittarius season when the full moon is in Gemini. This is the basic understanding of the lunar cycle. And then you have all the different phases all the way from the new moon to the full moon. This is the short-term cycle. So we're talking about a new moon. So this is a sense of newness, freshness, initiation, planting new seeds. And it is in the sign of Gemini. Now, I am a Gemini rising. So as you guys probably know, if you know any Geminis, we can talk your ear off. We are chitty chatty. We love to gossip. We are hilarious. And we are great at communication. Gemini is all about networking, communication, speaking, talking, chit-chatting, writing, anything to do with communication, typing away, creating videos. You know, I'm starting this channel, The Laughing Oracle, in the season of a new moon in Gemini. I'm starting this season, building this community. And by the way, if you feel like being a part of this community, I really do encourage you to go ahead, like, comment, boost the algorithm, and go ahead and subscribe. Join the community. Join me as I build the community of the Laughing Oracle. This is a place for grounded spirituality. This is a place for embodying and integrating the path that we are walking as spiritual people. I am reclaiming joy, authenticity, and grounded earth energy within the spiritual and ancestral spaces. So if this resonates with you, then I go ahead and encourage you to join me on this journey. So this is the new moon energy. The new moon, the time of initiating and planting seeds, is in the side of Gemini, being able to hold two sides of the self, being able to learn and integrate and then share. Now I will go into the 4 intuitive downloads that I received when I was in meditation, tuning into the energy of this new moon in Gemini. And then I will have a 5th bonus thing that I talk about right at the end, which will have an influence on this energy. So stick around to the end if you want to find out what that is. And right now I will dive into the 4 main intuitive downloads for this new moon in Gemini happening on the 26th of May 2025. So the first intuitive download that I received whilst in meditation was the phrase unexpected sweet surprises. So the energy of this new moon actually has quite a light, fluffy, sweet feel to it. It doesn't have the heaviness that many other lunations have had and many other planetary transits have had this year. Like, oh my goodness. I don't know about you guys, but 2025 has lasted about 3 decades. I've had about 4 dark night of the souls and I'm barely holding on, but I'm so thankful spring is here. And I'm so grateful that this particular message has come through and that I can relay it to you, that around the new moon in Gemini happening next week, you can expect unexpected sweet surprises. Now, one of the things that happened when I went into meditation and that brought through this message was that my dad downstairs began to play this really beautiful classical music. I hadn't been expecting it. And usually when you're trying to film a video, you're trying to get into meditative state and someone puts on music in the background, it's jarring as hell. And just like living with other people and trying to find the space and time, even in such a large house as this, to film and not have noise in the background, not have neighbors blasting Bollywood music during the day, not have lawnmowers and construction work and my dad blasting jazz music or some shit like that. I even at this very moment, I'm looking after a little dog who is asleep right here. I don't know, you can probably see his fat pooch, fat belly. But even he, when I started filming this, began snoring very, very loudly. So there are all of these different things that come at me when I try and sit in meditation in this place and try and film a video. But at that very moment when I went into meditation, this very beautiful, sweet violin classical music began playing. And I just got this message, unexpected sweet surprises. This is what you can expect around this new moon in Gemini. Things that you hadn't expected, but for once aren't going to shock or jar you. I get the sense that this collective has been bracing for impact lately. I'm sensing a few unregulated or dysregulated nervous systems. I can feel the buzzing of it in my own nervous system as a mirror. And I feel like a lot of us, me included, are bracing for impact. The astrology this year has been tough. The energy this year has been off the charts. And it has felt like left, right, and center, we are blocking blows. And I'm loving that I can give you this information, that this download, that it's okay, love. You can breathe. This new moon in Gemini is going to bring you unexpected sweet surprises. And I do feel like the energy from the Uranus Cazimi in Taurus last weekend is still lingering. It's still very much impacting and influencing this new moon. And Gemini is making it something sweet. Remember, Gemini is fluffy. Gemini is air. So there's not going to be this heaviness that comes with anything that is unexpected this week. I'm kind of seeing in my mind's eye the finishing touches of a bow on top of a gift box, and almost like your guides are presenting you this gift box, and I'm seeing you slowly, tentatively pulling the bow, and it just unravels, and you begin to open this gift, and your heart is thudding, and you're like, oh God, what's it gonna be? And you open it, and it's just beautiful. It's unexpected. It's not something that you've been asking for. I don't sense that it's a manifestation coming to life or anything, but you can just expect very, very small sweet surprises to occur in this around the time of this new moon in Gemini. The second intuitive thing or download that I wrote down during my meditation was the idea of no longer carrying the burdens of others. Remember, Gemini is air. Gemini does not like being burdened or held down or held in place, does not like holding the burdens or the baggage of other people. And I get the sense that around this new moon in Gemini, it is time to lay down other people's bags and to enlighten yourself, lighten your load. I'm seeing very much the 10 of Wands, this end of a heavy road. Like I said, like I resonate with, this has been a difficult year for me personally. It's been very mentally heavy and confusing. And only very recently has the sun begun to shine in my life and in my psyche and in my mind and everything. And I go more into this and my relationship and my journey with joy, the space and the frequency of joy, in my personal channel, The Art of Light Love, which I will put down below if you are interested in my journey with joy. I did a 21 Days of Joy challenge that revolutionized my life and has saved my life and has reset my baseline when it comes to my emotional set point. So I won't go into that anymore, but you can check that out in my other channel down below. We are no longer holding other people's burdens. If someone asks you to do something and you do not feel comfortable doing it, do not do it. Remember, this is a new moon. We are initiating. It's one thing to place down the burdens you're already holding, but if someone comes to you in this new moon and hands you a bag that you then willingly take, remember, this cycle may last and may not culminate until the end of this year in Sagittarius season. So what you pick up now, you may not be able to put down, or it may be very difficult for you to put down and may have very long-lasting impact for the rest of the year. So please, your guides, this message, me, Joyanna, I'm saying to you now, do not pick up anyone else's bags if it does not resonate. If someone asks you for aid or asks you for a favor and you feel a deep, full body yes to be of service, to aid the loved one in your life who's asking, by all means. But if someone asks you to do something and you get that little niggle in your gut, or your shoulders feel a little bit tense or heavy when you begin to say yep, then just pause. Even if it feels bad to say no immediately, you can still say, let me think about it. If someone asks you for a favor, at the very least, say, let me think about this. Gemini is air. Air loves to make quick decisions that then come to bite them in the butthole. And remember, I'm a Gemini rising, so I'm constantly saying yes to things that I should not be saying yes to. And this is for me as well. I need to start implementing this idea of, let me think about that and get back to you. Because if they're your true friend or loved one, then they will understand you taking some time. If they then begin to push, that is an immediate red flag, my friend. So that's the second intuitive download. We are no longer carrying or accepting or taking on the burdens and responsibilities that we do not resonate with and that belong to other people, especially in a time of initiation. You do not want to be carrying these energies with you for the rest of the year. Trust me. So the third intuitive download that came through when I was meditating and diving into the energy of this new moon in Gemini was the idea of an internal spring clean. Now, this is one that I can deeply resonate with. I recently came back from a month-long trip to Germany in Europe. Very random, I know. I'm from the UK. I'm in London right now. Had a random, beautiful trip in Germany, and so much shifted for me. So much shifted for me in this time. And when I came back, I threw out 80% of my wardrobe. 80% of my wardrobe is now sitting in a big bag waiting for me to take it to a charity shop or sell it or whatever. And then with the rest of my bedroom, I did a deep clean and I brought up another bag of stuff that I'm going to either sell or give away. Why? Because internally, whilst I was away, something shifted. Something shifted within me. Remember, the external always catches up to the internal. The external is a reflection of your internal. So what I'm trying to get across to you is there may be an internal spring clean that has been ongoing or may just be beginning at the time of the new moon in Gemini. You may be feeling an urge to throw open your wardrobe and chuck out a few items of clothing or all of your items of clothing. You may be looking around your home or your bedroom thinking, this no longer reflects who I feel I am. It may even be that those in the spiritual community are looking around at all of their crystals and incense and like Ganesha statues in the corner thinking, I don't want these here anymore. I know I have been giving away a lot of my crystals. I've been looking at my incense and my statues thinking, do these resonate with me anymore? A lot of us in the spiritual community are going through a shift. And I feel and sense that it's because, side note, a whole load of new souls are awakening. And those of us who have been on the path for a while now are entering into a new era. And this new moon in Gemini is a spring clean for the soul. You are being asked, we are being asked to look inwards and separate truth from false reality, to separate subjective truth from objective truth, and simply to decide what our truth is. Who are you? What do you represent? What represents you? And how does this reflect in your mirrors, i.e., your relationships, your environments, your hobbies and patterns and habits? How does your internal mirror back to you in the external? Because what you see in the external that you do not like or resonate with, it's time for it to go. Spring clean for the soul. You are being asked, I personally, like this is on a level, I'm being asked to look at every single belief that I have picked up since my awakening, right? A lot of us on the spiritual path go through the paths of healing. And I personally believe that it is a delayering process. When you wake up, you begin to look at your projections, at your behaviors, at your limiting beliefs, at the things that you have been told that you are, and you go through a delayering. And for me, it has been 5 years of delayering. But what I'm beginning to understand is that whilst I have been delayering, I have also been replacing some of those layers with other beliefs. And a lot of those beliefs, I believe about 75% of them, I deeply resonate with. 15 or so, 20% of those beliefs are things that I maybe heard once and now just repeat, right? Because there's a difference between like understanding, knowing something and understanding it. There's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. So where in your life do you find yourself regurgitating information that you've picked up from external sources that you have not vetted, understood, or genuinely integrated? What do you believe that maybe actually needs revisiting? And this has been quite crucial for me lately. And it feels as like another crumbling of self, not in a super destructive way, but just it's another form of delayering. Like I said, it's a spring clean for the soul. I am reviewing the truths that I have taken on and deciding with intention what actually resonates and what is something that I've just started to repeat because the rest of the spiritual community repeat it. Right? And I'm not going to go into those beliefs because I don't want to influence what you believe. This is for you to dive into yourself, into your belief systems, into your patterns, and see what is truly authentically you, what you genuinely believe and hold true and integrate and live and embody, and what is just fluff, right? So this is what you're being asked to do in this new moon in Gemini. Now, the fourth intuitive download for today is something that I have already touched on a little bit in the previous parts of this video, but I will dive into it a little bit right now. It is the need to ground yourself and soothe your nervous system. Like I mentioned before, filming this, I could feel a buzzing in my nervous system that made me feel a little bit ungrounded and anxious. And there may be a need for those of you watching this to ground yourself and to self-soothe. Grounding yourself looks a lot like giving yourself a hug. It looks a lot like humming. Humming is one of my favorite tips and techniques for soothing your nervous system almost instantly. As soon as you hum, you are activating the vagus nerve here, and you are soothing your nervous system. If you don't believe me, let's go ahead and take a deep breath and then hum. An immediate calming of my system. Humming, it's so simple. And I love it because you can do it anyway. You can do it on the bus. You can do it in the supermarket. You can do it when someone's yelling at you. Just start humming. It's a very subtle and simple way of soothing your nervous system. But only you know what works for you, right? A lot of us love to ground by putting our feet bare on the earth, on the ground, wearing root colors like red or black, saying affirmations around how feeling safe, being safe, I am safe and held and loved, I am safe in my environment, my nervous system is safe, my inner child is safe. Many of you may want to do inner child soothing, healing, reparenting at this time around this new moon, but you are definitely being invited to be in your body. Remember, Gemini is air, so there may be a lot of mental, ethereal stuff happening in the skies, in your life, whatever. We all get busy. We all dive into a hyper-focused topic. You know, if we have the ADHD or the ADD or the any type of neurospicy, as I love to call it, we may be all up in the mental, all up in the mind, and completely forgetting to nourish the body, which is your temple. Drink your water. Eat nourishing, grounding foods, root vegetables, red colored things, orange colored things, stuff like that. Go outside, hug a tree. But you are being very much guided to bring yourself into your body, to soothe your nervous system, to speak to your inner child, and to remind yourself that you are safe and protected and loved at this time. So the fifth and final bonus topic that I wanted to discuss is not an intuitive download. It is simply a bonus astrology aspect or impact that you may want to be aware of, that may also impact the entirety of the energy of the new moon in Gemini, as well as the week of, before and after. And that is the Mercury Cazimi happening in Gemini on Friday. The new moon is in Gemini because the sun is in Gemini. Technically, a new moon is when the moon is Cazimi the sun. What does Cazimi mean? Cazimi is when a planet or the moon is in the center of the sun. It is being completely eclipsed by the sun so that you can't see that planet in the sky anymore. This is a Cazimi. And in astrology, we tend to call this the rebirth of the planet, the phoenix rising, the new cycle beginning of this planet's energy. Now, why does this impact the new moon? Well, Mercury, which is the planet of communication, technology, it's the planet that everyone blames for their problems 3 to 4 times a year when it starts spinning backwards through the sky. And of course, Mercury, the planet Mercury, rules the sign of Gemini. Every planet rules a sign and a house and etc. It's all an interlaced, interconnected field of consciousness hovering above us and within us, as above, so below. But Mercury rules Gemini. So Mercury, the ruling planet of this new moon, will have an impact. Intuitively, how I feel Mercury Cazimi will impact this new moon in Gemini, and therefore you and me and the collective, is we will no longer not be able to speak our truth. And I know that's a double negative, please do forgive me, but that's just how it came through. It's how I wrote it out. We will no longer not be able to speak our truth. Mercury Cazimi is going to make you a bit gobby, to put it very simply. But it's it's in a beautiful way. You know how I was saying earlier that we're going to start saying no. We're going to start saying, let me think about that. We're going to start putting a pause on giving super unconditionally to people who perhaps don't deserve that from you. This is going to make it so you're able to better implement boundaries, and you're better able to step into your authentic self and speak your truth from a sense of deep self-worth. I really feel that, especially because we will be going through this spring clean for the soul. And when you can decipher what is yours and what is not, what you will accept, what you will not, what you will take on, what you will not, it will allow you to speak from a space of authenticity and truth that you may have been struggling to be in or speak from for a really long time. I definitely know that for me, a big thing for me is codependency and conflict avoidance, and not wanting to be the person who lets someone else down, who overthinks every conversation that I have, just pointing out all of the ways in which I let myself down, I let other people down, all of it. And I think this is where the integration of the self-soothing of the nervous system, spring cleaning your soul, learning what your boundaries and truths are, the Mercury Kazemi will then allow us to utilize all of this, hi Dave, and speak from our truth. This is Dave. He's honestly so unimpressed right now. Okay, so that was the astrological update for the new moon in Gemini happening on the 26th of May 2025. I hope that you were able to get something from this, whether it was one intuitive download that resonated with you, or maybe you put a pin in it. None of it resonates right now, but it may further down the line. Either way, I'm wishing you a beautiful new moon in Gemini. I hope that it brings you all of those beautiful, unexpected, sweet gifts. And I am wishing you well. Again, if you like this video, please go ahead, like, comment, let me know what your top 3 are down below. Let me know where Gemini is hitting your chart, and I may respond and give a little update specifically for you. If I know your rising sign, then I know which house Gemini rules, and therefore which house the moon will be impacting. So yeah, go ahead, pop that down below, why not? And I'm very much looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye loves.